Hello and welcome back, everyone. My name is Desi, and this is another video essentially where someone is expressing that they're alone, that they're looking for connections, and on the flip side, the last two I've covered have been men. This is an individual, there's a female. I watched the first part of this earlier, got about 2.5 minutes into it, and I decided I would do a reaction video on it because it's interesting and also it's blown up. It's got like 200 or 150,000 views in 5 or 6 days. So it's very, very popular. And I kind of want to find out why, other than just it seems like anybody who gets online and talks about them being lonely, it gets tons of views. Even my reaction videos compared to my gaming videos are getting hundreds and thousands of views. So I'm going to see what this lady has to say. I do know some background about her channel. Her name is Last Minute Lacey. She has, I think, about 4,000 subs, although it's rapidly going up because this video is popping off. But she has some very interesting worldviews, so I want to see how much she gets into that as we go on. But anyway, without further ado,
Hi, it's me.
hello, it's me.
Uh, it's been a long time. Not that long, but it feels like a lot longer.
So right off the bat, it looks like she's been crying. Her face is like puffy, it's kind of red. So she does not look like she's in a good mental state, and the video hasn't even really started.
I never really have anything good to report. Um,
Also, in terms of video quality, this is as high as it goes, so don't at me. This is just her setup.
I am so devastatingly alone and lonely that I am losing my sanity in a real way. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go back to work. For the first time in my life, I can't see even a potential future. It's worrisome. I tried to be my authentic self. I tried to speak my truth. And I know everyone's like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen and stuff like that during your awakening and things. But
Yeah, she's referencing it here, the authentic truth in her awakening. And I think she mentions in a second that she's from a small town as well.
I'm in a small town and
There she
I'm
goes.
isolated and I,
Yeah, if you're in a small town and you have any sort of different beliefs, a lot of small towns are very Christian conservative types, and I can tell you right now that she has very different beliefs from that. It's going to be hard to make friends.
walk. Talk about TV shows. Nope. And I understand.
Okay, go for a walk and talk about TV shows. Like, that's fine, but you're mentioning you're very eccentric, and I'm not being mean at all. She has very eccentric views, like metaphysical, like seeing spirits and stuff like that, which I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to shame her for her beliefs. But if you just talk about TV shows with somebody and don't get into that, you're unlikely to come across any loggerheads or anything or have any issue. But I'm going off on my own here.
Like when you're in a place of desperate or whatever, but what am I supposed to do? It's taken everything right now for me not to just tear apart.
I can see that.
I've been alone so long and I don't know what to do. And I'd like to say that this has helped me more, but it really hasn't. It's kind of made things worse. I really needed people in my life, people that I loved and cared for, and I didn't have that. That was my biggest challenge. And then Mr. passed away in May, and that's my kitty cat. He was 15.
Yeah, that's if you're living alone and you have a pet, that's probably what has put her on this spiral, if I were to guess. Is, you know, I call them fur babies. A lot of people call them that too. They're family. I have a dog that I love to pieces, and she's like the little sister I never had as an only child. And if I lost her, and especially if I was in a bad mental state like I was a couple of years ago, it would have just destroyed me.
I don't know. I don't know what it is that I've done. It doesn't matter how much I clear, how many things I heal, it just doesn't matter. And it's making me feel awful. People need people, and I can't make any connections.
There it is. What she said was exactly what I was going through, and I still go through, but especially like a couple of years ago, when my friend moved to Germany, and when she went away, or my best friend, I'm an only child, like I said, and I'm more of a quality of relationship versus quantity person. And when I have somebody that I'm super close to and it's like a sister to me move away to the other part of the world, and also I live in a part of the country in the Pacific Northwest where people are just exceptionally hard to get to know and aren't very open, I know this feeling right now that she's feeling. Like it is pure, unadulterated, just desperate despair. It's an interesting choice of words. And I don't mean to laugh at this, but it's just, I know where she's coming from. Like, take all of her beliefs and everything else aside. This is genuine desperation for connection. And this is so common in our day and age. Despite all this technology, despite everything else that's present, how disconnected we are with one another. And unfortunately, she has some radical beliefs and lives in a small town. And maybe she has like social anxiety or something like that. And that just. So this is not something that just happens to men.
I can't make any real soul connections. I can't even make any, like, what's that word? Or like artificial, like, not as deep, you know? I can't even. Not, nothing. I'm going to be 39 in August.
She, to her credit, and this is just me going off on a tangent, she does not look 39. She looks like. I put her like at her late 20s to early 30s.
My experience with true love, and I don't care. I've been hoping and leaving open space, and people give all these excuses why. And I've been through it, and I've done that. I even forgot about him for 3 years because I was too focused on trying to help everybody not take the jabs. I never ever felt anyone as my husband like that, ever. I never had a deep emotional connection, and I don't know, it's clearly just one-sided. And because I believed in it, you know, I believed in true love, I thought I was being faithful and loyal to love, so I hung on and I waited, you know, like, for 14 years. I tried to move on. I tried to date others, and I always told them about him.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, she was in a long-term relationship for 14 years. I don't know when she got out of it, but that's most of her adult life. And now she's trying to go back into the dating pool. And it doesn't sound like she's confident that she'll be able to replicate that love. And it also sounds like she was in a bad relationship.
It must be just the fact that he treated me so badly that maybe it has something to do with my CPTSD. I don't know. I never felt that way about another human being ever in my life.
So she was in love with this person, but he mistreated her. But she held on to it despite the. This is so common nowadays. It's actually really depressing. And my sister's. I shouldn't say, the person that's my best friend that I see as a sister, her younger sister was in a similar situation to this, where she was in an abusive relationship, but she was also a Mormon, so she just stuck with it until she literally couldn't take it anymore and says, I'm done. But she had a friend network and everything else like that. I think this person or this girl, that might have been her only, maybe he was super controlling, so that was her only source of social, and that's cut away, and now she has to basically start from the ground up and figure everything out.
Anything, for that matter. I mean, I learned a lot. It was great for my ascension, my awakening, and everything. Yay. But it's left me devastatingly lonely. I stop myself from crying a lot, and I know that's really not good for my heart chakra. It even says so in that Naked Soul book that I was trying to read. I am so sorry. I feel like I failed everyone, in a way. If I would have had people here to help me and like share good times, like I'm gonna be alone again on my birthday. Again.
Okay, this is starting to hit me now. This almost happened to me on my last birthday, and I would have been super depressed, but fortunately, my neighbor and my friend last minute I was able to get together with, but like, that's so rough. So she says she's 39 now, and she's gonna be 40, and she's gonna spend her 40th alone. By the way, I pointed out again, she does not look even close, remotely close to 40.
I actually got a new kitten. He's in my room. We're still in like the getting to know each other stage, so.
That's good.
But I need somebody here for me. I'm always giving and giving. I'm always taken care of. I'm always, even if I am so unbelievably sad, like on the inside, just hurting, I still try to make other people smile, laugh. I, I've learned to hide it very well.
What's interesting though is she sounds in desperate mode to make friendships, and maybe she's pushing too hard and pushing people away. I guess that'd be my first assumption. At least how it is. That's how it is in this part of the world, or this part of the United States. I think she's got a very thick Midwestern sort of accent, or like central rural Canadian sort of accent, or something like that. She sounds like she's from like Wisconsin or Minnesota or something. And they call it Minnesota nice, but I heard people are kind of like they are in the Pacific Northwest, where they're just hard to get to know. And if you come at them with your heart on your sleeve like her, they're going to be like, whoa, whoa.
But it's very hard. And I know a lot of people are going through it. If you have any kind of family, hang on to them. Because in these days, it seems like that's all there is. Like I don't get hugged. I don't ever get that feeling of being excited to see somebody. Like, of course, my kitty cats. But I mean, when I speak with God about it, I always say, correction. Like, it's not no one, because, like, no one cares about me. My cats do, and God does. I was always connected to the spirit realm ever since I was a little girl. And I don't know why I ever, maybe because things get so dark that you really hope someone will come to rescue you. And that's why it went from the spirit realm to aliens. I mean, I really thought that being in my room was an alien in 2015. I swear upon my soul. On,
See, now she's getting into her different beliefs.
upon Salem's soul and his life and my little new babies. I really did. I thought he was an alien. It turns out that it is all.
And I don't want to go into diagnosing, but it almost sounds a little bit like some form of schizophrenia. I don't know. If somebody's more educated, they could cue me in on it. But this is not an uncommon thing to think that somebody you're with is like from another existence or plane or whatever.
Spiritual. It doesn't mean that it's not real. It's very real. More real than anything. In fact, what this is right now is the dream. And when you leave your physical vessel, you wake up. That's your real life. Your eternity is forever. So this really is just a time. in soul school. And then you graduate to the greater colleges and universities where we have different jobs and missions, like these people in the UFOs.
So it's interesting that she has like a belief in a god, but then is also like believing in aliens and UFOs. So she has a very she has like a mystical but monotheistic view system with aliens involved. And she's very convinced that they're real, which I imagine in a small town full of probably religious people, that probably doesn't fly very well.
But there's always two, right? Opposing forces, generative forces. You know, even in the terms of generative forces, the earth needed a spirit as well as a body to support us and our life on it. It's always both. I don't really know how these beings do that. Elena Denon knows more about it, but I wish she would stop talking about them being aliens and start being honest. Because it's not. It's not aliens. They're not. She even says they live on another dimension of their planet. That's the spirit realm of that planet. It's an etheric plane. We are on a dimensional plane, and there are other ones, you know? But I feel like everyone just deserves the absolute 100% honest to God truth, which is what I've always tried to do here. Not only for myself, but for us all. I knew how hard it was for me and how many times I just wanted to. So excuse me. So I just wanted to make it easier for others so that they didn't have to feel that way. That is part of the CPTSD. But, you know, it's also because I do care.
What's interesting about this individual is it feels like she's very much in tune with like the mundane, what's going on with her, like her mental health, but on the other hand, she has like these mystical beliefs and this transcendental idea of like aliens, spirits, UFOs, of all this stuff that's extraterrestrial, but yet at the same time she seems very grounded and genuine and earthy. That was the first thing when I saw her, I thought she was very earthy. But she has these beliefs that are very non-earthy. So I just thought that was interesting. It's kind of it seems like a contradiction in a way.
Unfortunately, I just don't have the energy, the mental capacity anymore. Like I can't keep it together even a little. And so I'm going to be no use.
I'm just trying to think, like, let's say she meets somebody that she's compatible with, like, on a basic level, similar personality types or whatever, and they're having a good time, they're having a cup of tea or having coffee, and then she brings up, like, oh, well, I believe in UFOs, I thought my husband was an alien, and I'm sorry if I'm misinterpreting this, and I have this, our existence is on a plane, and she just starts going into this. The other person is probably going to be a little bit shocked. And it sounds like this is something she doesn't really try to hide when she meets people.
I don't know if I'm going to put my other videos up. I feel like people are just laughing at me, especially the people around here. And I noticed that if you make videos, it'll show your videos in the town you're in, because I see other people's videos that are in my town. I'm like, oh no, that's probably happening to me. And it's not that I'm ashamed.
You don't have to put the town you're in, as far as I know. That's one of the options, but as far as I know, you have to actually, when you make the video, you have to put the town that you're in.
It's just that it's hard enough for me to meet people and talk with people, and I don't want people getting scared away even before they even know me at all. Which probably everybody already thinks I'm crazy.
I mean, we're all crazy in our own ways, and anybody who says that they're not crazy is lying. We're all on some sort of spectrum of craziness, and we're all our own type of crazy. So, if I met this person and she went on about that, I'd be like, okay, let's just say hypothetically that me and this person meet out in the wild, and we're talking and she brings up this stuff, I'd be like, you know what, that's interesting. But depending on the level of disclosure, I wouldn't think she's crazy. I'd just be like, those are some interesting beliefs. Like I've met people with destructive habits, people that smoke a bunch of Mary Jane, people that drink too much or whatever, and like her and her beliefs about UFOs and aliens and, transcendental spiritualism, etc., is kind of par for the course with the people that I hang around with. So at least that's my 2 cents.
I will never understand that. I prayed my whole life for true love. And then I have those feelings the moment I felt him before he walked in. And I saw him and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the one. That's my husband. And I even told my friend that.
This happens to people that are not spiritual, by the way. This is not something that's unique. It's your brain, especially the lizard brain and all the other stuff in the back part of the brain. Uh, it happens with some people that they see somebody like walk through a door and they're immediately like, it's called love at first sight for a reason, but it's all just brain chemistry at the end of the day.
I said that right to her. See that guy right there? That's the man I'm going to marry. That's my husband. She's like, what? Him?
And he ended up being a POS, it sounds like.
But I guess I should have listened. Everybody told me that he.
Yeah, and when this happened, girl, you're in your like young 20s, it sounds like. 14 years? You don't listen to people at that age. People's brains aren't even fully developed at that age. And you see this man and you're like, that's the man I'm going to marry. And you're 20 something, 20 nothing maybe. No one's going to talk you out of that.
I didn't know people would treat other people like that, to be honest. I didn't. I thought that everybody believed in true love and all that, and that's a really bad F up on my part. But I have to live with the consequences, right?
So she spent 14 years, probably all of her 20s into her younger 30s, with somebody who was abusive. Either physically, mentally, or whatever. Abuse is abuse. And now she's looking back, and fortunately she still has her youth, despite like almost being 40. Age is just a number anyway. But she's looking back at her life and realizes I have a huge chunk of my adulthood who I sacrificed to this person who I thought I was in love with at first sight, who ended up just being a manipulative POS and an abuser. So that, I'm not going to say midlife crisis because that's such a freaking blanket term, but that's rough. And I have that too at someone who just turned 36. I look back at my 20s and be like, dang, I really wish I could have done this better. I wish I could have done that better. I guess that's what life's all about. But, life is about here and the now. And she's out of this, but now she has a whole plethora of other issues. And I'm wondering if she, again, I'll bring it up for the second time. I wonder if she based her whole social network around this individual that she was married to. And once he's out of the picture, she doesn't have any social left.
But I do wish it would happen again. That those feelings, but it never has, not once, not even close. It's not because of him. It's not because he's super special or super, like, what's that, like, Fitness Men's Health magazine, supermodel, it was his soul, it was his energy. At least I thought so. And for him, it was just lust.
Oof.
Great. Like, I wish that I never met him, because I do. I do. I would have been able to fall in love with somebody else who wanted to love me back. And not just string me along and abuse me and tell me to call you. And then when I do, you yell and scream and freak out because you're with another woman and you act like
Oh my
I'm
God.
obsessed with you and you're a stalker or something. Oh, it was
my
so bad.
God.
I've never met anyone so fucking vile. I'm sorry. I tried not to curse. And so I've been trying to process, that I was abused again. And that's how I got that eating disorder. I kid you not. I never had a problem like that until him. So I called today about some counseling about it. I'm going to try. It's really hard for me to talk about it. It's so humiliating, because people make so many assumptions. And I just think to myself every time, I'm like,
if you talk to a counselor or therapist, especially the right one, they're not going to do that. This is not something that's unique to this person. This is very common. especially for the humiliation thing. Like, I know that I kind of smiled after dropped the F bomb, but it sounded like that was cathartic, and I was more happy for her for getting that out than like Schadenfreude or whatever it's called. It's nothing like that. It's just, it sounds like she's making the right moves, and I'm glad she called it out for what it was.
I wish I could have those feelings again. I hope I don't hang on to that guy. I'm sad about that I never got to feel that way again. It was just magical. My soul just, that's what lit my flame, you know? The flame of creation, your God spark. They just like to make excuses and it's oh, just leave it up to Jesus. Da, da, da. They don't understand that I need people and it's killing me.
This is intense.
I don't know what to do. I've been around people who've just wanted me to change, not be myself. And that hurts me because nobody wants to be around. They all have boyfriends or this or that, and then it just falls apart.
Yeah, right there. They all have boyfriends or this or that. That's some real talk because people get into relationships, and this has happened so many times. It happened with my best friend down in Utah. Her being a Mormon doesn't help either, but she found a husband. All of a sudden, she's got no time for me. I'm trash to be discarded, I guess.
Or I've got to call 911 because he's trying to come in the window. He seriously tried to come in the door. Why is the door locked? Rah! He thought we were in here having. He thought I was a lesbian and that I'm trying to steal his girlfriend. I'm not kidding with you. It's so embarrassing. He called 911 on me and told them that I was holding his girlfriend hostage.
So imagine like she goes out for 3 interactions and they don't really go anywhere, and then the third one she has this experience. You know, it's one of those once bitten, twice shy, or I guess twice bitten, 3 times shy, or whatever. She probably doesn't have a lot of energy to keep trying to do that again because it sounds like one of her handful of attempts to like branch out. I don't know if it's a handful or not. It ended up like this. And if I was in her shoes, I wouldn't really want to try again either. That's rough.
So that's what's going on across the hall. He lives directly across the hall from me.
Oh my
This guy.
gosh. Like, it doesn't sound like she's in a safe spot either, living close to that psycho.
Yeah, deception is wrong. I don't care. Oh, well, people have to learn. Well, look what it did for you. Yeah, but damn, that was really painful. I thought, like, and yeah, I've seen a craft right in the sky in my old building. I've seen it with my own eyes. Like, I'm sitting here in this body with, awake and breathing while you're breathing.
Yeah, and if you tell someone who's religious that you've seen a UFO in your own body, they're going to be like, you got some strange beliefs that are unorthodox. I'm not dealing with you. For me, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, personally, like, I know people with strange beliefs. And like if somebody believes in UFOs or whatever, I'd be more interested in having a conversation and seeing where their logic comes from because aliens are an interesting topic for me. And so I'd be very interested to talk with this person one on one about that. But I certainly wouldn't be like, "Oh, you're a Satanist or a heathen or weird beliefs. I'm not going to deal with you anymore." But I would be because I don't know this person. But I'd be it would raise a lot of orange flags or red flags even to hear about like UFOs and all this sort of pseudo scientific extraterrestrial stuff that she believes in. Not saying she's wrong or judging her. I just would have a hard time wrapping my head around that. But that's why we have conversations. It wouldn't like make me not want to be friends with her per se. It would just make me a little bit wary to get super close. At least that's my perspective on it. But I don't think some people, when they hear that, they probably don't even give her the time of day.
In my books, it says that if you can survive the isolation stage, which is what I'm in right now, which I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know. I think I've already effed it, you know? Unless it's like a last minute Lacey thing and I just slide in right at the last second and make it, which would be excellent.
Again, there she goes. She's so connected with the world around her, but so disconnected because of her beliefs.
Oh, yeah.
She's so contradictory. It's just, yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why she's, I think, in the state she's in, is because of her belief system, but also the fact that she's so in tuned with the world around her. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this, to be honest. Outside of like the loneliness thing, that's real, but her beliefs are just so in contrast with one another. It's like part of her is here and now and super connected with the humanity, the struggle of humanity, but yet another part of her thinks she's going to ascend to some different level, which is interesting because I've covered incels a lot. And incels think that the way of ascension is through having sensual relations. I can't use the other S word.
I guess we can just make do. I would just like to spend time with people while there's time left to do so. People that love me for me, saw me for me, and appreciated me for me, and that I could do that back and feel safe.
But you want to feel close and have a connection with people, but yet you think you're going to ascend at like a certain time. It's just the disconnect. And this doesn't have to do anything.
I don't even have an option of going back. I'm not invited for a Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh.
There's been none of that since I was 17 years old, and it wasn't good before then, so.
So she's been isolated since she was 7. Her family sounds terrible.
Yeah. So please pray for me that I find.
Pray to who, though? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Pray to who? Which god or gods or goddesses are you talking about with the UFOs? I don't know. Again, not judging.
Because I'd be content with that if I could have a husband. He's your best friend. You know what I mean? We'll do stuff together. If that man I loved would have told me that he didn't love me, he never did. You know? He just kept stringing me along. Oh yeah, I'll see you on Thursday. I'll see you on Sunday. I'll see you after my birthday. Just bullshit me along. I was a just in case. Just in case it didn't work out with anybody else. My afterlife is going to be incredible. I'd really like to enjoy this life that I have here now. It'd be great because like I had before.
I wonder if she sees it like this life and my struggle is part of what's going to make the next life better. Because that's like a very, that's how like Christianity started in the Roman Empire. And part of the reason why Rome adopted it, at least as far as I understand, is like with the old pantheon of gods, the afterlife was more like restricted and everyone went to Hades or whatever, and you had to do like these great deeds. But in Christianity, it's like the humble serf or land worker could go to heaven if they just turned the other cheek and toiled the soil and just worked hard and obeyed their masters and, suffered, they would get rewarded in the afterlife. And I wonder if that's her sort of mentality with this. Her ascension is determined by how much she struggles in her mortal vessel, in this mortal life or whatever. I'm just interested.
For the incident on the weekend, I had tea with her, and just being around someone, and we talked about Sailor Moon and stuff like that, and
I need to watch Sailor Moon. I got a whole bunch of grief because I've watched Samurai Champloo, but I haven't watched Cowboy Bebop, and I've never watched Sailor Moon. And I was with my friend, and we were driving, and she got so like, "Oh my gosh, Desi, you haven't seen that? Oh my gosh, you missed out on so much." And blah 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 blah. So yeah, you talked about Sailor Moon. It's probably a good conversation, but then you brought up the aliens and the UFOs, and maybe things went haywire. I don't know.
just being around somebody helped uplift my mood. Like I didn't do anything to my apartment. Like I didn't put anything up or take anything out of the boxes. After Mr. passed away, I just kind of shut down. And just spending 1 hour with somebody to have a nice time
Also, that cat, I think Mister was his name, he probably was with her when she was going through, I don't know how long she's had him. She had him since she was a kitten or whatever. But he probably went through her when she had her trauma experiences. And like that's another, people really bond to their animals, and to lose an animal after you've gone through a traumatic experience and have that animal be sort of your comfort during those times, and then to lose them can be extra hard. So I feel for her on that.
So this made me somewhat better because I feel like, maybe by uploading it, it'll help. But I don't know because nothing I ever did before helped. It just made everything worse. And I mean, like, it's not like I can't enjoy my own company and I don't do my own thing every day, but I've been doing that for 6 years and I've been alone since I was 17. So, I don't know.
So let me do the math. She was 33 6 years ago, and she was in a relationship. So she started her relationship when roughly she was 19. I guess I was pretty close.
Yeah, I'm trying to be at peace with it, but like every day, alone, alone, alone. Then I don't want to be making a video. That's why I haven't. It's not because I just feel like people will judge me before they even get to know me. And they do. And so it's just kind of pushed me further and further and further away. So I don't even know if I'm going to post this.
Well, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but you've got almost 150,000 views, and your channel has like almost doubled in size, I think. So, yeah. And if you monetize this, I don't know if this will be monetized because she used swear words or whatever. She'd probably get a good chunk of money off of this. Not that that matters, but I'm just saying.
Like, I know what people will suggest. Wait, move from your town, do this, I've tried. And if I didn't mention this in my videos, you won't see it. Not, when people are saying nothing can stop what's coming, that comes down to like the whole God's plan. Like the Bible and how it says about deception and this and that. Oh yeah, the fallen angels, all that. That's what it is. It's just interpreted differently throughout the information that's out there.
So she has like a modified view of
So,
Christianity.
but I can't do any more than that. Spiritual. So I do care, and I wish you well. I really hope it just, for a miracle, divine intervention miracle, things can just get better. But until then, take care, everyone. Bye.
Okay. So her channel is relatively small. I think it's about the same size as King Nobody's when I did the review on him, but he I think has been around longer and has a totally different audience. But I think she actually had a pretty built up audience. She released this video 5 days, and she had like, I think 4,500 when I checked yesterday. Okay, and I want to just check her comments out. And when I checked yesterday, she had 4,500 or 4,900 subs. Now she has over 6,000. So her channel is just blowing up. She's got 150,000 views, 7,000 likes. You're not alone, you're not alone. As a man. Don't tread on me, interesting. It's interesting that nobody really mentions her beliefs or whatever. It's more of just like support, which is good. Psychedelics. I mean, it works for some people. Religion. Ah, there we go. I had to scroll down a long way to find it, but I was expecting more reply guy sorts of responses. It's good that she's getting support, though. I would say 70% of the comments are men. She's in a very interesting state. She is a very down-to-earth, warm person, from what I have judged, who's very connected with the people and the events around her, but yet she has some very interesting beliefs. She's experiencing something very terrestrial and mundane for somebody who has very extraterrestrial beliefs. But yeah, this is very different. This was not what I expected at all. It kind of was, but very different from the other videos that I reviewed that are more like the incel 35-year-old male never had a girlfriend type. This person has been in a long-term relationship, but it doesn't sound like she's really tried to be in one again because the one she was in was so disastrous. But yeah, I wanted to watch this to kind of prove the point that this loneliness epidemic is not just men, it's women as well. And this is just case in point, although this is a very unique individual that this is happening to, it's still very much both people. And there are tons of videos of females being like, I can't find anybody, I'm lonely, I'm depressed. And of course, men are like, oh, well, you're attractive. You shouldn't, that should not be a thing. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going on for an hour. Hopefully, it'll be shorter than that after editing. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.